my name is Sifar Salsabila, and today I would like to present my individual project about intercultural communication. The title of my project is Different Ways of Saying No and Intercultural Misunderstanding. Communication is an important part of our daily lives. We communicate with our family, friends, classmates, and people from different countries. However, every culture has every culture has its own way of speaking and expressing ideas. Because of these differences, people may misunderstanding each other even when they have good intentions. In this presentation, I will share a simple example of intercultural misunderstanding. Then I will explain why it happened related to intercultural communication concepts and discuss what we can learn from this situation. Imagine that I am an Indonesian university student who has an American friend studying at my university as an exchange student. After class, I wanted to introduce her to my family because in Indonesia, inviting someone to our home is a way of showing kindness and friendship. So I said, "Hi, my family is having dinner together this Saturday evening. Would you like to come and have dinner with us?" She smiled kindly and replied, "Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry, but I can't because I already have another plan with my roommate." After hearing her answer, I felt a little disappointed. I started thinking maybe she doesn't like me. Maybe she doesn't want to spend time with my family. I become confused because in my experience, Indonesian usually refuse invitation in a different way. For example, instead of saying no directly, many people say things like, "Maybe next time, I will think about it first. Let me check my schedule." Sometimes people even give a long explanation before refusing because they don't want the other person to feel hurt or embraced. Because of this cultural habit, I thought my friend's direct answer sounded cold or unfriendly. In that moment, I misunderstood her intention. The next day, I met my friend again at the university. She smiled at me and asked, "Hi, how are you?" I smiled back, but I was still curious about what happened the day before. So I decided to ask politely. I said, "Can I ask you something? Yesterday, when you refused my invitation, I thought maybe you didn't want to come because you didn't like me." She looked surprised and quickly answered, "Oh no, that's not true at all. I really wanted to come, but I had already promised to my roommate that we would travel together this weekend." In my culture, saying no direct is normal. We think it is more honest and respectful to give a clear answer instead of making the other person wait. After listening to her explanation, I finally understood the situation. I realized that she was not trying to be rude. She was simply communicating according to the communication style that is common in her culture. The misunderstanding happened because we had different cultural backgrounds and different expectations about polite communication. This example is closely related to intercultural pragmatics. Intercultural pragmatics is the study of how people from different cultures use language in communication. Intercultural pragmatics is the study of how people from different cultures use language in communication. People may use different words, expression, or communication styles even though they have the same meaning. In this case, both my friend and I wanted to be polite. However, we showed politeness in different ways. My American friend believed that giving a a direct answer was honest and respectful. Meanwhile, I expected a more indirect answer because that is common in Indonesia culture. This situation is also related to intercultural communicative competence. Intercultural communicative competence is the ability to communicate effectively and appropriately with people from different cultural backgrounds. It means that we should not only understand the language but also understand the culture behind the language. If we have a good intercultural communicative competence, we will be more open minded. Instead of judging people based on our cultural values, we will try to understand their perspective first. This helps us build better relationship and avoid unnecessary misunderstanding. So, what should we do if we experience this kind of misunderstanding? First, we should stay calm and avoid making assumptions. Instead of immediately thinking that someone is rude, we should ask for clarification politely. Second, we should respect different communication styles because every culture has its own values and tradition. Third, we should be willing to learn about others' culture. The more we understand cultural differences, the easier it becomes to communicate with people from around the world. Finally, we should always communicate with empathy, patience, and respect. These attitudes can help us build positive relationships with people from different cultural backgrounds. In conclusion, this example shows that cultural differences can influence the way people communicate. A direct answer is not always rude, and an indirect answer is not always better. Different cultures simply have different ways of expressing politeness. As students and future English teachers, it is important for us to develop intercultural awareness. By understanding cultural differences, we can become better communicators, avoid misunderstanding, and build respectful relationships with people from different backgrounds. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope this presentation helped us understanding the importance of intercultural communication in our daily life. Thank you.